Okay, welcome everybody. Samach Zayin Amud Beis. And almost all Aganata today for a couple of days. I think it's going to be mostly Aganata. I think so. So the Gemara is going to have some halacha, that's the Mishnah, and then it's going to go into a lot of some refuahs. We'll see about that. Also, the famous story about Ashmedai that many people know since they're children. We'll see it in the source. Okay, that's going to be about the head of the Shadim, the head of the demons. Famous story. So the Mishnah starts. Misha also Krodikis. If somebody had a seizure of Krodikis, which is some kind of insanity, that the Gemara is going to say is caused by drinking too much wine. So when he was in, I don't know if it's called a shota, because then the Mishnah would have said a shota. That's a regular, very common term in the Mishnah. But okay, we'll see. Eventually, I hope we'll get to the sugya. But he has a Krodikis seizure, and he said he gave instructions to write a get. Lo maklum, he didn't say anything. He ignored what he said because he's not in a regular, settled mind, lucid mind. Omar kis forget lishti. The Gemara is going to talk about what exactly it is. As far as we're concerned, it's like temporary insanity, or somebody's shikr or something like that he's not lucid. So you don't listen to what he says. The Gemara is going to say that. Ashkar from the Gemara. Omar kisfuget l'ishti v'achso kedakis v'chazav Omar lo tichtevenu. He really gave instructions to write a get, but when he was in a kedakis seizure, he said, "Don't write it." Also, you don't listen to him. Ein dvar b'chvonim klum, and you don't listen to his last words. And you could write the get because his shlichus that he said to write the get is still what we listen to. And the end of that Mishnah, no Mishnah. How about if he didn't get a kedakis, but nishtatek? He became mute. He wasn't able to talk. Which might be something not just physical. Maybe it's not just about his throat. It sounds like it was something because of his mental state. He wasn't able to talk. That way, at least it means he became mute. Sheket, right. That's interesting. Shatak. Sheket means quiet. Shtika. He became quiet. He became mute. He wasn't able to talk. And we are going to be chosh. Maybe it has something to do with his mind. That's what we're going to make sure that he's sound mind. But let's see. And people asked him, they want to know you wanted to write a get. And they asked him if he does he want to write a get? And he shook his head, yes. They told to him, do you want to write it? Should we write a get for your wife? And he shook his head, yes. And we want to just make sure that he knows what he's talking about, that we're signaling, we're understanding and signaling, right? So both can also shlosh upon him. We ask him 3 questions to make sure that his signaling, his motioning is consistent. We ask him, is it day now? Is it daytime now? Is it, other questions that we should know what the answer should be. And we ask him 3 times questions, so we should make sure that we know that he understands our emotions. We understand his emotions. And I don't think so. That's our point. That he knows what he's talking about. If he got it right each time, when the right answer was no, he shook his head no. When the right answer was yes, he shook his head yes. Then that's enough proof that he's of sound mind. Then you could write the get and give it because his motioning was good enough. This is not a shota. He's not a perish. Just he wasn't able to talk. He also want to make sure that he's of sound mind and that the motioning is understood by both parties. If you ask me, he's asking to get 3 times, so you don't know lav hein hein. Yeah, that's the question is that you know what the answer is. I heard Agav that the police, when they want to ask somebody want to ask him a question, so there's something that sometimes they ask simple questions first. Like they look at his 2 dots, then they ask him what his name is, and they ask him what his address is, and that's not really what they're asking. They really want to ask about where his eyes are looking when he answers the question, because when a person lies, he looks at a different direction. So they want to see what his natural way of saying the truth is, in order to see that when he ask him another question, that's the real question, like where you're coming from or something like that. So then they see if he's the same motion as before. It's that simple at over here. First you check 3 times to see what if he knows what he's saying. Right. Okay, that's a side point. The normal questions, right? How that affects. Right. Okay, my kodaikas. What is this thing called kodaikas? Literally, it means that new wine, fresh out of the press, bid him. The word Danachne means that it bit him. Chamra, wine, Chadatanu, Matzarta, out of the press. Means he drank too much fresh wine right out of the press. Means grape juice. Grape juice that came straight out of the press, and it bit him. Didn't literally bit him, but it means that he was affected by it because he had too much of this fresh grape juice. Matzarta is a press. Right. So, right. But listening, why doesn't it say that? Why does it have to say something about Kardaikas? Why doesn't it say Nashko Yain Chadash? That's what he just said. I don't know. It says that could cause a person to be unstable in his mind. Nothing happened. It seems that it's just straight out of the grapes. It seems. Maybe it means that it's in the press, means that it is, maybe it is fermenting. I can't tell. I don't know. Maybe it is that soon gave it enough time that it should start fermenting. I don't know. So why doesn't it say so? Why does it have the fancy name Kodakis? The note that the name of this Ruach. So it says it's not just a physical thing. It sounds like there's something that has some kind of a spiritual name. The Ruach, the spirit that affects him because of this drinking of the wine, is called Kodakis. Well, you have to know what the name is. If you want to write a kameya, which is some kind of a amulet that has some kind of spiritual effect, so you have to know what it's called. You have to know what the disease is called in order, what the ruach is called, the spirit is called, in order to be able to write a kameya against it. Okay, there's also another way to have a physical kind of a refuah without a kameya, and that's the question now. Maya Suse, what is the refuah? What is the remedy for somebody that has this kodakis seizure? So bisra sumka agumre v'chamra marka. He should eat lean meat that's roasted on coals. Gumri is coals, and also a diluted wine. Diluted wine means not regular dilution, but really diluted wine. Bisra sumka literally means red meat, but Rashi says that it's lean. When you see marka is very diluted, right? Chamra marka, diluted wine. Bisra meat, sumka red, gumri coals, chamra wine, marka very diluted. So that's what he should eat, and that'll help him to get out of his prodicus seizure. Now we go on to a side point about different kind of refuahs. One of them is going to be similar, that it has the same refuah about bisra sumka gumri chamra marka, as we'll see in a second. That's also something about this next problem. Rabbi Emily Aim, my mother said to him. My mother, they point out that Abayi's mother was born, was died in childbirth, so it must mean his governess, the one that took care of him. She's going to say a bunch of refuahs. Shimsha means the sun, literally, so some kind of a sunstroke, or some say fever. And Bas Yoma means the first day that he has this problem of Shimsha. So the refuah is Kuzir Maya, a cup of water. That's simple. He's getting dehydrated, maybe. He should have a cup of water. Bas Treyom, it's ready the second day of this Makkah of Shimsha. Sikure bas shikure. Then he should let blood. Sikure means to let blood. How about if it's already 3 days old? Bas tlasayomi. So then he should have bisra sumka agumri v'chamra marka. He should have this. What I said before. Same as for kedaikis. He should have lean meat that's roasted on coals together with diluted wine. How about if it's more than 3 days? The shimsha tikta, an old shimsha. It's been already around for more than that. So what's going to be the refuah? Laisi tanagolta uchmasi. You should bring a black chicken, black hen. Balikre Steve Arab, and he should cut it. How do you say Steve Arab? Thank you. Well, I don't know if it's alive or it's first. What's that? Steve Arab. Steve Arab is usually the way that you use it when you have a loom. So one is called Steve. The Arab is the warp, and the Shti is the weft. So you cut it cross. You cut a cross. Make a cross cut. I don't know if the thing is still alive, or you do it first, you shecht it, and then you cut it. I don't know. But the galche he should shave the middle of his head, of his own head. The man should shave the middle of his head, and he has a black hen that's been cross cut. The los he should put this black hen, that's obviously dead by the way, but I think it's dead already, and he put it on his head, on his shaved head. He should put it on his head until it sticks to him. Then he should go down and stand in water until his neck, till he feels faint. The lamud, the less like the lace. Then he should swim. Lamud is to swim, and to go up and sit down, and get out, get calm. Get out of this whole thing. So he's knocked out, and that's going to be the refuah for Shimsha Atika. The low, if it doesn't have this, it can't do it what we just said, or doesn't work. Leichel karsi, he should eat leek and do the same thing. So the same thing without this black hen. So he eats and putting on his head all that. He should eat leek and also go into water until his neck, until he feels faint, and then he should just swim and get out and sit. Okay, l'shimsha. This Rasim Mark, we just said that for a son, that's what we said before, a 3-day son. So then he should eat lean meat that's roasted on coals together with diluted wine. But the talga, if the problem is because of snow, that cold, if on the other one he was in a too hot, like a sunstroke or something like that, he was in heat. But the opposite, if he was in a cold situation, sheleg, then the opposite. Bisrish mena gumri v'chamra. You take the opposite. Fat meat that's roasted on coals, and raw wine that's not diluted at all, undiluted. It's chamra maziga, means the regular dilution of wine, that's normal diluted wine. There's chamra marka, which is very diluted, and chamra chaya, which is not diluted at all. So a person who was suffering from the cold, so he should take fat meat roasted on coals together with undiluted wine. The one says a story about Rav Amram Chasida. He's called Rav Amram Chasida, the Rav Amram the pious. So he has some problem with the Avodim of the Reish Galusa. We see that many stories, the Avodim of the Reish Galusa weren't tzaddikim. They weren't good guys. Not the Reish Galusa. The Reish Galusa also sometimes wasn't so good, but the Reish Galusa sometimes was good. But the Reish Galusa, the Reish Galusa usually find negative. The people love the Reish Galusa, not the Reish Galusa himself. The people, his people. No, the servants of the Reish Galusa. The Exilok's servants. What? You could say that, but they were probably not. I don't know if there was a government as much as it was Jewish. It was Jewish. The Exilok. I don't know if there was a government as much as Avodim, his household servants, his servants. They were tough characters. So Avram to see there's some problem with them. It doesn't say what the problem started over there, but they would lie him in the snow. They wanted to torture him, so they put him in the snow. So he was freezing. They got sick from that. Then they asked him, "What can we bring for you?" I guess they might have done it not in a direct way. They could have been. They put him and they just locked out the door or something like that. Whatever they did, that he had to be on the snow. And then they asked him the next day, "What should we bring for you?" And he knew that whatever he's going to ask for, they're going to bring him the opposite. Amar, he said to himself, "Hani called these people, whatever I tell them, they do the opposite. So therefore, I'm going to tell them the opposite of what I really want, and then I'll get what I want." So he asked for the opposite of what he really needs. He asked for lean meat that's roasted on coals and very diluted wine. So they brought for him what he really needed. They wanted to do the opposite. They wanted to bring what's bad for him. But they brought the good stuff. They brought fat meat that's roasted on coals and undiluted wine. So that's a chachma to figure out what the person's going to do. So do the opposite. Right. Undiluted, no water at all. Shama Yalta, so Yalta heard about it. Yalta was the wife of Rav Nachman, name of the wife of Rav Nachman, and she was the daughter of the Reish Galusa. So she didn't like what these servants were doing, and she wanted to help out Rav Amram Chasida. So she heard about it. She brought him into the Beis HaMerchatz, to the wash house, to the bathhouse. And she put him into the water. She wanted to heat him up. He was in the snow. She heard what happened. So she brought him into the Beis HaMerchatz, that they should have a heated bath. And that the water became red from the pus or the blood that came out of him. That he was also Rashi says because of the meat that he had together with the wine. So that was the refuah, that afterwards to first eat that and then to go into the hot bath, and then it'll come out and the water turned red. Dama says blood. Dama. The water turned blood. But it doesn't mean that for blood. Because bisrei pshiti pshiti. So Rashi says that pshiti pshiti means like spots of white. That his flesh became spotted with white. I guess that means that the places where the blood came out or the red came out. So then was the cold too much in the snow? Of Yosef, yes, he was with the snow. He wanted to warm up, so he would work by the mill to physically to do work in order to get himself heated up. Rav Sheshes Yasik B'Kshuvi. Rav Sheshes would engage himself with beams. Kshuvi beams. When they were in the cold, they were in the snow too much, and they wanted to heat themselves up afterwards to get warmed up. So he would work in the mill, physical labor, and also Yasek B'Kshuvi, he would engage himself with beams, carrying beams in order to get heated up. Amar, and he would say, that work is great, that it heats up its owner. It's the one who does it. The one who does work gets heated up, means good to do exercise. That is good for the body. There's another the one who does it, the one who does the malacha, the Baal malacha. We had a similar Gemara, not similar, but very similar. Very gedola malacha shem mechabed says Baal. There's another Gemara that says that work honors the person who does the work. Brings him parnasa. New story, also going to be about the Avrohom of the Reish Galusa. I guess it comes in the Agav over here. I'm the Reish Galusa Rav Sheshes. My time Allah saw it Margav. The Reish Galusa asked Rav Sheshes, how come you don't come to eat by us? He invited the Reish Sheshes, and it seems that he declined many times. Why don't you come to eat by us? That your servants are not good. They're not good. Not good servants. They're suspect of giving me every menachai. I don't know what they're going to give me. They might give me every menachai. They're chashuv that they'll give treif. He didn't think so. The Reish Galusa thought that his Avrohom were good. Yeah, the Reish Galusa himself was okay, but Avrohom were not good. They were too powerful. But the Reish Galusa himself, I don't trust your servant's kashrus. You don't know that your servant is not not trustworthy. You trust him. I don't trust your servants. You should know them better. But he didn't think so. Who says that? Could you prove it? I'll show you. I'll do a test. Go ahead. I'll show you that they're chashuv. So Rav Sheshes told his own servant, now I'm going to show you. Now I'm going to show you. Rav Sheshes said to his servant, he told his own servant, go to the kitchen. Doesn't say kitchen. Go and steal one of the legs of the animal. They're serving some animal, whatever. So go steal one of the animals, or one of the legs of the animals, of the animal that they're going to serve. So he was successful in stealing it. He brought it. So now he said to the servants of the Reish Galusa, he came to the kitchen. He came to the kitchen. We asked him to bring it out. Let me see all of the limbs of the animal that you're going to serve us. I want to see the whole thing. So they brought it out. They brought out the 3 legs, the animal with the 3 legs. This was a 3-legged animal. Where's the 4th one? So they went to get, sorry, we'll come back right away. So they cut off a leg from an animal. They needed another one, so they just cut off an animal. They had no time to shecht it and do everything. So they just cut off a leg from an animal. Then they put it in front of him. So he told the shamash, now put on yours onto the table. So because that was a real one. So he put it on, and he said, this is a 5-legged animal. This is a 5-legged animal. Means he caught them. He showed them that they all understood that he caught them, and he really had the leg, and they did every menachai. Okay, so he showed the Reish Galusa, you see? They're chashur on every menachai. So that's why I don't eat by you. Who knows what they're going to do? Everyone knows every menachai. He showed them, I have the 4th leg. Where do you get the 5th one? In 5 minutes, how do you get another leg? So they bow their head in shame. So the Reish Galusa said, okay, so you're right. I understand why you don't want to eat by me. But bring home Mashgiach. Let them do it before you and eat. Means you want to watch them. So watch them in the kitchen. Watch them in the kitchen, or send your shamash in the kitchen. Let them do it before you, or kameh or kameh come do it before your servant and lead. It means get a supervised, your own mashgiach to say that everything's kosher. But I'd like it to eat by me. Which word? To eat, yes. Amalei lachayi. So Rav Sheshes agreed. Lachayi means all is well. People taka kamayu, so they brought a table. Taka is a table. La'aisu kamei bisro, and they brought meat. Osivu kamei ristana de chanka chamsa. And they brought before him a portion of that's called chanka chamsa. So it's not clear why it's called chanka chamsa. Rashi says that a person could choke on it. A certain bone, someone could choke on it, In the Gemara, you don't see that, but they brought a certain portion in front of him. Rashi says that they wanted to kill him because it's a certain bone over there that if you eat it, it's very, very easy to choke. He felt it, then he realized what it was. He took it and wrapped it up, put it into his kerchief. He put it aside. He put it in his pocket. In the Gemara, it's not muchach what Rashi says that they wanted to choke him with that, but the word chamsa, chamsa does sound a little bit like that, something about chenek. But in the Gemara, it could be you don't see that, a certain piece of meat. So he put it into his pocket. Right, so he seems to be a meat over here. It seems to be an animal, maybe. So Rashi says that that's what it is. I'm not arguing, just saying that the Gemara doesn't mamish say that. And the rest of the story maybe sounds a little different. But the people saw it. They noticed he put something in his pocket. And they wanted to see what he put in his pocket. After he finished eating, they told him, top of the next page. He felt it. Oh, yeah. So after they finished eating, they told him, top of the page, we lost a silver cup. Means that they wanted everybody to empty their pockets. That's pretty not nice also to Rav Sheshes to ask him to empty his pockets because they lost their silver cup. But they wanted to see what he has in his pocket. When they were checking, they found that they had this in his pocket. They had a piece of meat in his pocket. Right, right. It sounds a little bit like it wasn't a bone only, it was also meat. You see, you don't even want to eat. You're not even eating. You didn't eat. You just want to make a service. You're coming and you don't even eat. So why are you coming? The Avrohom of the Reish Galusa said, your meat is inside your pocket. You took the meat, you put it in your pocket. You're not even eating. They were angry because he disclosed them, and now he's not even eating. I really ate. I took a piece. The time with the chivra, but I tasted a taste of chivra. So Rashi says chivra means white. Rashi says that there was something wrong with the animal. The animal must have had some kind of a sickness. Rashi says shkin. The word chivra means white, but he said that you're serving unhealthy meat, not kosher, but not healthy meat. We don't have any chivra. We wouldn't have any of this balashkin. We don't have any of this boil animal that had a boil. We gave a good high quality meat. Checking the place means checking the place on the skin of the animal, even though the whole animal was not chibra, but in the place where this meat was, the skin opposite it is noticeable that it had a boil over there. From the meat, I could tell that the skin had a boil. If there's a black spot on a white animal or a white spot on a black animal, that shows that there's something wrong. Something's wrong. Malka. Lakusa, like a maka. They found and they saw that Yisaka was right. The piece of skin on the skin opposite the place where this piece of meat was supposed to be of the animal. So there was a spot over there. So he says you're serving unhealthy meat. To me, to the Reish Galusa. He cannot correlate that they wanted to still trip him up. They wanted to he should fall into a pit. That was the next thing on their list. He cannot, when he was leaving, they dug a pit in order they should fall into it. They put on a machzela. So machzela is a mat. It probably could hold the person a little bit, but too much is going to fall in. So they put a machzela. They put a mat on top of the bore. Tzifta. Tzifta means a machzela. And they said, why don't you come and lie down a little bit? Yeah, they weren't a good guys. Rav Chisda was behind him, and he snorted at him. He made like a sound with his nose, like some kind of snorting, in order to see. He couldn't take the favors for some reason, but he was able to at least be Ramez. He hinted to him. So he wasn't for sure. So Rav Sheshes said to a child, "Tell me the pasuk you learned today." That's a kind of a simon. When you ask a child, "What did you learn?" What did you learn today? The pasuk will be some kind of a remez. So he told him, "Turn to your." There was a child over there. There were children over there. Yeah, over there outside the Reish Galusa's house, there were children playing by recess. So he said, "What pasuk did you learn today?" So what was the child learning? Where's the pasuk over there? In Shmuel, maybe. Turn and veer to your right or to your left, which is a simon. Don't go straight. Go to the right or to the left. That's earlier. Amalei l'shamei, he told his shamash, turn to the right or to the left. That was a pasuk that he said. Sounds also like don't go straight. Amalei l'shamei, Micah Chazis. Rav Sheshes was blind. In this whole story, we forgot to say Rav Sheshes was blind. That's why he says he felt it before. He felt it, he wasn't able to see. He told the shamash, Micah Chazis, what do you see in front of us? Amalei tzipsa deshadia. I see a machzelis that's here. Means that I don't see the ground. I see a machzelis, a mat. Amalei hadamina. Let's turn around. Let's go around it. They went around. And he was saved. They left the Reish Galusa and the Chaim L'Shalom. The Basta the Nefik, after they left and they were next to the Abadim of the Reish Galusa, Amalei Rav Chisda Manavi Yadamar, Rav Chisda, who tried to be Miramis, but he wasn't able to be, he said, how did you get the hint? How did you know not to lie down? Amalei, first of all, Chada, the Nachalimar, first of all, you gave me a hint. You gave me a remiss that I should be cautious because you snorted. Because Rav Chisda had snorted to him. So I said, first of all,
he's asking.
Rav Chisda asked Rav Sheshes, how did you chap that was the problem, that you're supposed to go around? How did you know? Rav Chisda really meant to hint him, but he wasn't able to say it explicitly. And he wanted to know. Rav Chisda knew there was a trap over there. How did you chap? How did you know? So he said, first of all, I chapped your snore. It was enough. Like, first of all, Rav Chisda didn't know if that was enough to really give him the hint. But he said, yes, I got the hint. And second of all, I asked the pasuk, the pasuk Yinuk Psuka, and also a child told me the pasuk. The Chashidi Avdi de lo Malo. Also, I suspected because they're not a good Avadim. So all these three things together, that's why I didn't go where they told me to go. End of story. The reason why he came in. The Chashidi Avdi de lo Malo. Also, the not good Avadim are suspect. So that came in because Malu means good. No, not good. Lo Malu, not good. Malu means good, lo malu means not good. It doesn't have to do with going up. I don't think so. In Aramaic, it means good. So that's the end of that Gemara. How did it come in? Because of the Reish Galusa stories. The first Reish Galusa story was about the snow, which came in Aga because of the sun, which came in Aga because of the same refuah as Kodaikas. And now we go into, why are we going in? What's the next story going to be about? It's going to be about Shadim. How does it come in then? I forgot. How does the next story come in? No, this pasuk is going to be in Shira Shirim. So I forgot how the Gemara comes in. Because they say, because before we said this whole Kadaikas is a kind of a ruach, it's a kind of a spirit. It's true, it comes from drinking the fresh grape juice, but it's less to do with some kind of a ruach. That's probably how it comes in. It's all about Shadim now. So the pasuk starts. Let's make it a little bigger over here. C.C. Lee. Shlomo Melech over there is trying to look for good time, for what's good in life. So he has a lot of tries over there until he comes to the real answer. But on his tries, one of them was C.C. Lee Sharim B'Sharos. Sound goes b'nei Adam Shidov. That's the pasuk. I made to myself. So it literally means singers. Sharim is to sing, and Sharos would mean female singers. That's the pasuk. Pshat. The word's going to say different. Sound goes b'nei Adam and all kinds of people's delights. And Shidos, which also is going to be the main subject. I think was going to translate it to mean demons, but that's not Pashup Shat. Shidos, the Pashup Shat, the Mephoshim say that it means chariots, like cars and stuff like that, music and cars. And the Gemara is going to talk about maybe it means shadim, demons. So the Gemara starts. What Shom B'Shoros? What does that mean? So the Pashup Shat would mean men and women singers, but the Gemara says Elu Minei Zemer, different types of musical instruments. What does it mean? Tanugos b'nei Adam. Elu brechos and merchatzos. That means pools and bathhouses. Brechos probably means cold water. Merchatzos is hot water. Shida v'shidos. What's that? Tachatagimu shida v'shitzin. Here in Babel they say that it means demons, males and females. The Marava Amri shidita. In the West, in Eretz Yisrael, they say that shida v'shidos is a different kind of chariots, and that's what the Mephoshim say. The Pashpasham. Shidata, like a kind of a chariot, and that's how it says sometimes Shida Teva Migdal. It's a kind of a box. That's what the Mephoshim say over there. Shida v'shidos, the Mephoshim say that it means different kinds of chariots. You'd say today people want to see the good times, so they'll get music and they'll have pools and cars. Okay. Not the more goes in, the more brought in because of the shadim. And not the more goes on to about the shadim. There's a place called Shichin. For Shichin, we had it someplace. And he says there were 300 different types of shadim over there. And it seems that Avrohom was near and he was very familiar with the shadim. But I don't know what it is. I don't know what the essence of a shade is. Okay, end of that. Amamar. Here in the Babel, they said that Shlomo Melech, he got contact with shadim. Male shadim, female shadim. Here they translated. Here in the Babel, they translated that shidim v'shidav v'shidos means shidav v'shidatin. And the Gemara said, why is Shlomo interested in having shadim? Shidav v'shidatin, the my boy, why does Shlomo Melech have to have shadim v'shidos? Then why it says the whole story now? Why need a shadim for it? It says in the pasuk, that the house, when it was built, Shlomo Melech built Beis Hamikdash, was built with full stones. So they say like it was uprooted from the quarry, full stone, big stones. You see in the base, you see it. You see even in the second temple, you see just huge stones. Shlomo Melech in the Beis Hamikdash, he had huge stones that were quarried out. But the Gemara says that the Gemara is not, it could be not Pashup Shat, but the Gemara says that they had to be full stones that shouldn't be cut with metal, which is not the Pashup Shat. And the Pasuk talks about the Mizbeach, but by the whole Beis Hamikdash, it doesn't say that. But the Gemara seems to darshan that also the Beis Hamikdash shouldn't be made with cut out stones. The Pasuk does say that there wasn't heard any metal stones called Kli Bazel were not heard by the Beis Hamikdash. The Pasuk Shat is that they didn't use it by the site. They did it by the quarry already. They didn't do it by the site, by the building site. But the Gemara is darshan they didn't use it at all. That's the Gemara. That's the Gemara now. I think uprooted, but check it in the pasuk to make sure. So that's the question. So Shlomo wanted to know if you're telling me that if the halach is that I'm not supposed to use any metal utensils in order to cut the stones, to smooth the stones, how am I supposed to get it? I'm a little Rabbanan, Hechi. So he asked the Rabbanan, even though Shlomo Melech is so wise, he asked the Rabbanan, what am I supposed to do? How should I cut the stones without metal? Amulei Ika Shamira, I see Moshe Lav Ne'efod. There's a Shamira, kind of a worm, that Moshe Rabbeinu brought for the Avnei Ephod over there also that's supposed to be engraved, and also it sounds like you're not supposed to do it with metal. So Moshe Rabbeinu had a shamir, you also use the shamir. Where's it found? How can I get it? I see shida v'shidatin, kavshinu adadi, yadi. So there are ones that we don't know, but being shadim and shidos, not sure why shadim v'shidos. And now kavshinu adadi, the word kavshinu means, Rashi says, to be lochetz, to pressure them. To pressure them, but to literally pressure them means to squeeze them against each other, maybe. That's what the words literally would mean, to press them against each other. And maybe they know and they'll be able to reveal to you. Maybe the shadim know. Shadim v'shidos. I see shadim v'shidim, kavshinu adadi. So he was able to bring shadim, no problem. It doesn't say how he brought the shadim, but he was able to, later on it'd be a problem how to get the head of the shadim. But the shadim, we had no problem. He brought shadim v'shidos and he pressed them against each other. Amri, and then they was asking them, where's the shaman? Amri, so they said, we don't know, but maybe Ashmedai, who's the king of the Shade, maybe he knows. Amalahu Hecha Isay, so they asked, where is he? Where's Ashmedai? Amri Lei, Isay Betura Palan. He's in a certain, they told him the whole story where Ashmedai is, how you could find him. He's in a certain mountain, and he tells him his daily schedule. Karyale Bira, Umalile Maya. This is what the Shadim are telling Shlomo what the Ashmedai does every day. Tours a mountain. Like Tor Malka. Tor Palan in a certain mountain. Ploni. Karyale Bira, Umalile Maya. He digs a bore, and he fills it with water. Umachasya betinra, and he covers it with a stone. Tinra is a stone. B'chasmei b'kushbanke, and he seals it with his signet ring. And he wants to make sure that nobody should open up the bore and bring something else over there. Every day he goes up to the heaven, to the heavenly yeshiva of heaven, and then he comes down to the land, to the earth, and he learns by the earthly yeshiva. Then he checks his seal to see that it wasn't tampered with. Then he uncovers the stone, and then he drinks, and then he covers it again, and he and he seals it. And he goes. So there's a bore that's sealed with a signet ring of Ashmedai that is water, and that's where he comes to get water. That was what the Adkan. That's what the Shadim told Shlomo about Ashmedai, the king of the Shadim. So now this was Shlomo Melech's plan. Now how he's going to get Ashmedai? How's he going to capture him? So he sent his general Benayo ben Yoyada, and he instructed him how to catch Ashmedai. He gave him a chain that has Hashem's name engraved on it, and a ring that has Hashem's name engraved on it. Maybe the ring is how they close the chain, like that. That's how he's going to seal it. And also some more supplies. Also wads of wool and jugs of wine. And he went to that mountain. So what he wants to do now is to fill the bore with wine instead of water. But they're sealed. You can't just break it open and put the wine in. So he dug a bore next to that bore. So he dug a bore that was even lower than the bore of the water. And the word shafinu sounds like a Chavrush said a nice pshat that has to do with siphon. He siphoned out the water. He siphoned out the water from the bore that it was full of water into the bore that was next to it. Or it just means that he drew it out. He made a hole in it. He made a bore next to it and dug a hole to the two boros, and now the water came out. And then he stuffed up the hole with the hole that he took out the water from. So he stuffed it up with the wads of wool, that whatever he's going to put the wine in, eventually is going to stay. Then he dug another bore that's higher up, and therefore the bore that's going to be higher up than the bore of the original bore that's empty now the gravity is going to let the wine pour into the bore, and then the wine, he spilled the wine in, so now the bore is full of wine. And then he stuffed up the hole again, or Rashi says he stuffed up the whole bore, all the two bores that he dug, he stuffed it up, and now there's only a bore of wine. So Kitzer, what did he do? He had the bore of water changed into a bore of wine, and the seal is still intact. So then Benayo ben Yadi went up to a nearby tree, to see what's going to happen. And then Ashmedai came. We went to the yeshiva, the Ma'ala, yeshiva Shalmata. Then he came to take the thing. Benayo ben Yoyada, who's the general of Shlomo. He also so he came. He checked his seal. He saw that it was intact. He uncovered the bar and he saw that it's full of wine. Now it's interesting. So did somebody do something or not? He says it wasn't tampered. If it would have been, he had to do the whole trick, because if it would have been tampered with, he wasn't drinking. But now that it was sealed, even though he sees that it's wine, there's only one bore now. There's one bore that was sealed. The original bore that was still sealed. He had dug two bores next to it, one a low one, one a high one. The low one was to get the water out. The top one was to put the wine in. And now, now we stuffed up those two bores. They're not connected, and he sees that he opened it up. It's regular bore, sealed, everything's fine. But now he sees that it's wine instead of water. Now I don't know what he thought. Obviously, I don't know what he thought. It changed into wine. I don't know. So he opened up and he saw that it was wine. So he said, "Not smart to drink wine." Omar, after all, he learns a lot. Yeshiva Shalmata, he learns it. So he says it's not good to drink wine. A couple of psukim say it's not good to drink wine. How would you say, the marker of wine, because of wine, it becomes a late. Homer Shecho, what's the word Homer? I don't recall. We had Homer, it's like at the point, maybe like Hamon, like from drinking wine becomes late summers. Anybody that errs in it is not going to be smart. I mean, not good to drink wine. If you drink wine, you make mistakes. So it's also not to become shikar. Four cups shouldn't make you shikar. Do it diluted, you don't get shikar. Small cup, diluted. Anyway, but it's not smart to drink wine. One pasuk, another pasuk, that's nus, and wine, and tirush also means the kind of wine, takes the heart, takes a person's heart. Means not dry, not smart to drink wine. So he didn't drink wine. No ishti, so he didn't drink. You have the chat over there? Okay. Kitzachi, eventually he got thirsty, no water. He had no choice. Ishti. So he drank the wine. Rava, he got shikar and he fell asleep. It wasn't possible without that. like Lo Shah. He had no choice. And then he drank. He fell asleep and he got shikr and he fell asleep. Rov is to become shikr, Gun is to sleep. Home is like Amay we had over there in davening also. We say Yamur Hamecha. That means to be aroused. He will also say the same possible here. Not a lesson of he's saying doesn't mean Hamon, it means Homer. Like being aroused. And let's say Yain or Meshechor. What's going to be over there? That's the dictionary. What is that? A siddur. Yeah, the word Homer, but how's it fit over here? Let's say Yain or Meshechor. Okay. So, Ishti. Okay. Ishti. That's what we're holding. We're holding now. Ishti, he drank. Rave became drunk. Gunna, he fell asleep. That's what Ashmalai wanted. He wanted to fall asleep. That was the whole plan. What? That's from one. Rave is drunk. Gunna drank. They're sleep. So the drunk was only to get him to sleep. He didn't care about drunk. He just wanted to become sleep. That was deep sleep. So then Ashmalai was able to come and put him in chains. Nachas he went down out of the tree. But Benayo came down. Asa he came. Shadabe Shilta Satme. He put the chain on him and he sealed it. I guess he sealed it with the ring. And he waited until he woke up. Ki Isa when he woke up, he was trying to get out of the chains. He was jumping around. Amalei, so Benayo told Ashmadai, Shema Demorach Halach, Shema Demorach Halach. The name of your master is upon you. The name of your master is upon you. Means that there's a chain that has Hashem's name that he can't argue with, either because he doesn't want to break the name, or because he's already has to be humbled by Hashem's name, whatever the fact will be. So he had him. So Benayo captured Ashmadai, and now he's taking him to Shlomo Melech. As he was taking him to bring him to Shlomo Melech, Mota Dikla. So it's going to say stories that happened on the way. Later on, Benayo is going to ask him what the meaning of the stories was. But here it says, as he was coming, Kinakat Leiva Asa. Is it on, by the way? The Chachamim David, this is on? Yeah, okay. Okay. Kinakat Leiva Asi, Mata Dikla, Chavbei, Shadye. As he was coming, so he passed by a palm tree and he rubbed against it and it fell down. He threw it down. It's very big, strong. And just passing by, it doesn't seem like he had any intention of knocking it down, but it knocked down. Mata Labesa Shadi, passed by a house, also the house fell down. Mata Gabi Kuba da Hia Malta. Then he was passing by a hut of a widow, and she came out and asked him to please don't break down my house. Nafka, she came out, Ahmed Beis. Rashi says like some kind of a hut. It threw it down. He rubbed against the palm tree, threw it down. He rubbed against the house, threw it down. He was going to come now by the hut, he's still going to knock it down. But the Salmona came out and she was pleading, she was pleading to him that he should have Rahmanis and not throw down her house. So he got Rahman, he had Rahmanis, so he bent his height, not to knock down the house, but but he broke a bone. He broke his own bone. And he said, you see, that's what happens when I was nice. That's what the pasuk says, that a soft tongue breaks the bone. So the pasuk is altogether different. But he's saying because her soft tongue, that I had Rahmanas on her, that caused me to break a bone. That was the first episode on the road. The second episode, Ashmadai broke his bone. He saw a blind man that was what's the word? Going astray, or not? It doesn't mean astray. It means that he was going the wrong way on the road. He wasn't able to find his way on the road. So he helped him out to put him back on the road, which is maybe a chiddush for Ashmadai to be a nice guy. Also he saw a shikr that was also not able to make his way on the road. Also, he put him back on the road to give him the right way. That was episode number 3 already. Episode number 4. He saw a simcha, people were all happy by a wedding, and he started crying. Episode number 5. He He saw a man that was telling a shoemaker, make me shoes that should last me for 7 years. So he left. Episode number 6. He saw a sorcerer that was doing sorcery, and he also left. I think that's 7 stories. How many stories altogether? 7, if I counted right. Okay, that was what happened on the way, and he's on the way to Shlomo Melech. And now he came to the palace. For the first 3 days, they didn't make an audience for him with Shlomo Melech. So yes, why not? Yeah, he was asking. He was expecting they should bring him into Shlomo Melech. The first day they asked, why did the king not call me? That he drank too much. It's not going to say too much about that in the Gemara. The Shlomo Melech drank. He wasn't able to have an audience. Anseh, like the onus. He was an onus from drinking. So he took a brick and put it on top of another brick. That was Ashmedai's response. He took a brick, put it on top of another brick. Also, they told Shlomo what Ashmedai did. Shlomo Melech understood the message. He meant to tell you like this. Tomorrow I'll give him again. Like that was his doing. Do the same. We do a repeat. The next day he asked again, how come the king still didn't call me? Because he ate too much. He took off the brick. The brick that was on, the other one, he took it off. And again, they came to Shlomo. They told Shlomo what the Ashmedai did. This is what he meant to tell you. Take away food from him. Like, I guess to give him a little food. I don't know if he means to say that he does want it, that's the answer that he should. I'm not sure. The first time he said drink more wine. Second time he said give him less food. At the end, they called him. After 3 days, they brought Ashmedai to Shlomo Melech. He took a reed, a very long reed, and he measured 4 amos, and he broke it off over there, and he threw it to him. He threw him a reed of 4 amos long, and he meant to tell him the following: Amalei, Ashmedai threw the reed that's 4 amos long to Shlomo, and he told him, why are you making yourself so big? When you're going to die, even though you're a great king, when you're going to die, you're also only going to have 4 amos, like everybody else. How big is the grave going to be? 4 amos. So why are you making yourself so big? You conquered the whole world, and you're not satisfied till you conquer me also. Means you thought that the Shlomo Melech just conquered him in order for the sake of conquering him, that he should be a world conqueror, even on the Shadim. So even on Ashmedai. So he said, it's not enough. I don't want anything. I don't want to capture you. I'm not interested in that. I want to build a Beis HaMikdash, and I need the Shomer for that. So I want you to tell me where the Shomer is. That's the only reason why I captured you. Okay, it's pretty small now, but that's the best we could do. I don't have it. I don't have the Shomer. It's not in my control. But l'sar the Yama Masile. But he is given over to the Sar of the Yam. The Sar of the Yam is in charge of the Shomer. Well, I'll tell you a little bit what he does, and then you can figure out how to catch it. He only gives it to the Gemara is going to say soon that it's a woodpecker. Literally means a wild rooster, a wild hen, which the Gemara is going to say soon that the means a woodpecker. That's how they translate it. That he trusts him for his shvua. He made a shvua that he should be entrusted him with a shvua, and Ashmedai, no, the Sarah Shalyam trusts this time to go bra, and he's the one in charge of taking care of the Shomer. Omay Abed Bey, what does he do with it? This woodpecker, what does he do with Shomer? It brings it to a mountain that doesn't have any settlement, there's nothing there. Well, it's all rock, whatever. He puts it on the tip of the rock, on the tip of the mountain. What's a shina mean? Like the tooth. The tooth is a mountain. And a shena would mean on the tooth. I guess it means on the top of the mountain. Well, pakatura, and that causes the mountain to split. Rashi makes it sound like it's not a big split. It means a little bit, a little crack. Or mankit ma'isi bizrani me'ilni. It brings over there seeds from a tree. The shadi yasam very yishuv, and then he puts it over there, and then the yishuv, then things are going to grow. It means for himself. Also, Rashi says he'll have wood to peck on, whatever he needs. But that's how he makes yishuvim, by taking the shomer, and that's why he makes crevices in mountains, and then it's able to grow things. Find it the Metagamina, Nagatura. That's why the Targum says. I'm not sure if this is what Ashbadai said, or it was interjecting that it says by the birds, by the non-kosher birds. One of them is a duchifas, and the Targum translates as Nagatura, which we would translate as a woodpecker. Nagatura, Nagar is like a Nagar, like a what's a Nagar called in English? Carpenter. Tura is a mountain. But the point would be that he pecks on the wood. Maybe it's not a woodpecker. Whatever it is, Tanagola. So that was the place. And now Shlomo Melech has some information, and now we have to figure out how to capture the Shomer from there. But Kukina the Tanagola, so they found the nest of the Tanagola, of this kind of bird, Tanagola bird, the Islay beneath that has children, means that in the nest there are baby birds. The Chafuya Likine Zugisa Chivatin, they covered it with a piece of a clear glass. They put clear glass over the nest. So then now the mother bird is going to come and it's going to want to get to its children, but it can't because there's a pane of glass. When he came, he wanted to go inside to the nest and he wasn't able to, but he has access to the shomer, so the shomer is able to break the glass. He used to take the worm and go to mountains that were worm and go to mountains and put it down, and that would cause that the mountain should get a crevice. Cracking it, he was able to put seeds over there and it would grow trees. That was his for himself. Other people, he wanted trees to grow. So now the Shlomo Melech wanted to steal the shomer from him. So he put the pane, Benayo Ben Yehuda, his shliach, he put a pane of glass over the nest of the woodpecker, and then when he came, he wanted to get to his children, he wasn't able to. So he went to get the shomer. He knows where the shomer is. So he put the shomer on top, then it should break the glass. And suddenly, Rama Beikola, Shadye, Shakwe. And then I guess when Ayo, he came and he screamed and he scared the bird away and it dropped it and he was able to take it. So he got the shomer. And then the bird went to killed himself because he was not loyal to his shvua. That was how you said that. There's very loyal. Before I said the first white line that Sarah Yam trusts the Tanagola bro because he's loyal to his oath. But here, that he wasn't able to, he lost the shomer, so he killed himself. Now the Gemara is going to backtrack, and Bnei Yehuda is going to ask Ashmedai what happened on the way all those 7 episodes. He says he's going to bring back the shomer. He's in charge of the shomer. To watch the shomer, shouldn't lose it. And now somebody stole it from him, so he was negligent in his job.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Okay.
Couldn't do what it was supposed to be.
It seems like this was very unique bird that it was Neman. Like it would other animals it wouldn't have trusted. Only this bird. Shayam trusted him because he was Memelash who was him. Is it more hinting things of here probably, but I don't know what it is. It's more they say woodpecker. But I'm not sure. I'm not sure if they're right. Nagatura. Okay, so now yeah, he was in charge. It was under his jurisdiction, and he gave it to the Tanagola bro to watch it. And he also had something to do with it. He would make his shubin. Now the Gemara backtracks when they asked Ashmedai about all the story that happened on the way when he was bringing him to Shlomo he should explain himself. The first story about robbing the house over there that doesn't explain. And it says over there that he got Rahmanas on that widow, and he says he lost out because of that. But anyway, the next story is my time like the chaza how come you sort of blind man that was going off the road? How come you put him back onto the road? Because they announced in Shamayim that this man is a Tzaddik Gomor, and whoever does for him some pleasure, it helps him, so he's going to be Zochah to Olam Haba. So I want to help him. I don't know what the word of Ashmedai here. The shade wants Olam Haba. That's what it sounds like. But I think we can learn from this that there might be a blind man that you don't know, and he's a Tzaddik Gomor, and whoever helps him is going to get Olam Haba. Maybe that's something we should learn from this, even though the Gemara. That we should take care of this Tzaddik Gomor.
We don't know.
But he might be a Tzaddik Gomor. If you know who he is, then you know who he is. But if you don't know who he is, he might be outside the Gemara. And also, someone who helps him is going to get all of Mavon. I don't know if it erases everything else, the rest of the Cheshbonis, but it might be. What's the next story? My time, the next story, you saw a shikar that was also off the road, then you put it back onto the road. Amalei, the Russia Gamaru. In Shemaim, they said that he's a Russia Gomer. And I did pleasure for him and know that he should have his Olam Hazeh in this world, and he shouldn't be Zochet Olam, shouldn't get any kind in Olam Haba. He doesn't belong there, and he has some. I didn't want him to get pain in this world because he should have all of his pain in the next world. That he shouldn't be Zochet Olam Haba, and he shouldn't be able to say I had needless pain. So that's why I helped him out. My time with Chazita, how come when you saw that simcha over there, some kind of wedding, and you were crying? Amalei, boy, name was Gavra, but boy tells him Yomen, because her husband is going to die within 30 days, and she's going to have to wait for the brother-in-law who's a katan 13 years till they're able to do Yibum. So she's going to be a widow for 13 years. That's why I was crying. It means you see a simcha when he saw a wedding. He was crying, he started crying. So because even though everybody looks happy, but he knew the story that's not going to be so happy. My time. Right, you know that. And he was telling Ashbada, he's telling Benayo. My time Kishamata Gavra Damalay Ushkafa Avali Misani Lashev Shnin Achichas. How come when you saw a person that asked the shoemaker to make shoes for 7 years, you left? Amalaya, who Shiva Yomi Leslie? Misani Lashev Shnin. Boy, he's not going to live for 7 days. He's going to die within 7 days. He wants shoes for 7 years. So that's funny. So it's funny when we see it, but sometimes why seems to hint to us that we do things for long term and who knows how long term. My time when you saw the sorcerer that was doing tricks, how come you left? Amalei, Yosef Abegaza the Malka. Look so my dika to say. Because he didn't know that he was sitting on top of the treasure. There was a hidden treasure under him. And he's doing all kind of sorcery, like he knows a lot. Let him do sorcery under his own under his nose, if he'd be such a sorcerer. On the treasure of the king, there was a hidden treasure under him, right there under him is a treasure. But let him do sorcery to figure in his place. Let him do sorcery in his place instead of doing sorcery about all kinds of things. He's a Grois Chacham. He doesn't know what's even under his nose. All the stories show you that behind the scenes, if you know what's behind the scenes, a lot of times things are laughable or cryable. Okay. To say is the last word so far. Yeah. And he kept, Shlomo Melech kept, now go back to the story, Shlomo Melech kept Ashmedai by him. And, oh, no. Yeah. He kept he had the Shomer already, so I don't know why he needed the Ashmedai anymore. But he kept Ashmedai by him until he finished building the Beis HaMikdash, which I don't know why. He just needed the Shomer, he didn't need Ashmedai. But he kept him. One day he was alone with him. Shlomo Melech was alone with Ashmedai. Amalek Sid, Kesafos Re'im Lo, Bamina, Kesafos, El Malachi Asharis, and Re'im, Elu Hashedim. The Pasuk talks about Hashem is so great, Kesafos Re'im Lo. Kesafos Re'im means like the height, like the big horns of the Re'im. But Gemara dashens that the Afos is the angels, Malachi Asharis, and the Re'im is referring to the Shedim. A big thing about Hashem that he has Malachi Asharis, he has Shedim. What's so great about you? Shlomo Melech asked Ashmedai, what's so great about the Shedim that the pasuk says that Hashem has Shedim? Amalei shkol shiltam minoi v'havli yiskasach v'achi lach ruvusai. Take the chain off of me, it was enchained, and give me your ring, and I'll show you my greatness. Shaklei, so I don't know why Shlomo Melech listened to that. Shaklei lusha shiltam minoi, and number first and last. Shaklei lusha shiltam minoi v'yavli yiskasei. He took off his chain, and he gave him his ring. Bale. He swallowed the ring. So Shlomo had no ring anymore. What did he say? It continues. The Gemara continues now about Shlomo. What? Yeah, but it doesn't. But Shlomo is not swallowed by Ashmedai. Osvei lechad gape berikia lechad gape bara paske abamea parsi. he put one of his wings in heaven and one of his wings on the ground, I guess to hold tight. And then Pascha Abramer Parsi, he pushed him away. He gave him a kick. He pushed him 400 parsa away. That on this thing, Shlomo says, what value is there to all the work that a person does under the sun? It means he became Shlomo Melech, but then in 1 second he was ousted from his position and he was a nobody now. What? By not being king, he was pushed out of the kingship. 400 parsa away. That says the pasuk, this is my portion from all of my work. What is that referring to? This was my portion from all my work. My vizeh, what is that referring to? Rabbi Shmuel argue what vizeh. One says it was only a stick, he only had a walking stick left. That's all he was. After he was king, now he only had a stick. Some say gundo, Rashi says means lavush, that it was his clothing, that's all he had left. He was going, he was begging, he was a poor man now. Wherever he went, he said, I'm Shlomo Melech. Nobody believed that, but everyone thought he's insane, saying he's Shlomo Melech. He came to Sanhedrin eventually back to Yerushalayim, and he told them, I'm Shlomo Melech. The Chacham said that a shota doesn't get stuck on to one thing. Everything else is very smart. Just in this one thing, he's like a Meshuggah L'Davar Echad. There's no such thing. A person's Meshuggah, he finds a Meshuggah in different things. But this one thing he just holds on to, that he's Shlomo Melech. Sarich is to be stuck. He doesn't get stuck onto one Mishigas. A person has a Mishigas, he has a lot of Mishigas. Only one Mishigas, everything else is normal. My high, what's happening over here? So they got suspicious that maybe the Shlomo that's on the throne is not the real Shlomo, maybe. Maybe this is the real Shlomo. They asked Benayo, who's the Sar Tzava, has the king asked for you? Like recently, has the king asked for you? He said, no, the king hasn't asked for me. Then they asked the queens, Shlomo Melech had wives, they asked the wives, did the king have relations with you? Yes, he comes, he has relations with us. So they said, check his feet. Look at his feet. They said that he comes with his socks. He doesn't come with barefoot. It sounds like he'd be able to tell if he's a shade from his feet. So he always came with socks. And he would also even demand relations even when they were nidos. It's also not a good sign. Shlomo wouldn't do that. But I don't know why the women didn't say that earlier to the Sanhedrin. He also asked relations from his mother Basheva. Well, also that's not Shlomo. I said, I don't know why nobody roused to this till now. So they called the real Shlomo, they realized he's the real one, not the imposter. There's an imposter over there in the palace. And they gave him a ring, means I guess a new ring, and Iskasa. Iskasa is a ring. What was the gift? And Shushil, we had it before also. They gave, that's when he took a ring also on Amud Aleph that had the name of Hashem when he went to capture Ashmedai. And they gave him also a chain that had Hashem's name engraved on it. And he came to get Ashmedai. When they came in and Ashmedai saw Shlomo Melech, the real Shlomo, so he flew away. But he still was scared. Even after the whole episode, he still was scared of Ashmedai. He named it Shlomo, Shishim Giborim, Shabbalam Gibor Yisrael. That's why it says in the pasuk that Shlomo Melech had 60 guards around his bed, all of them were holding drawn swords because of the fear of night. So he was scared of Ashmedai, so he had 60 guards around his bed. About Shlomo Melech's history. One said that he was a king and then he became a Hediot, and the end of the story. Where the Gemara says before, he got back to his kingship. But the Gemara says only according to One Yomar. According to One Yomar, he never became back again. And one says he was a king and then a Hediot, they came back to be a king again. Period. Came back to Stevens, you see over here. Because the Ashmedai ran away. But before he was Melech al-Rein of the Tatzayim. He had ruled over the shade and also down below here on the earth, the whole world. But now that the Ashmedai sort of had an in with
Shlomo or whatever, that he's not wearing this chain around him or anything. So son was, he didn't have dominion now on the El Yonim, on Shvatim like he had previously.
And that's what. Did he become a king again? Shlomo. Did he get back his kingship? Right.
More about
The first pshat will be that he doesn't know the story before. But that he came back, and then there's only 0.1 on the only 0.1 on the but you see that you can't say that someone says that he swallowed up Shlomo. That doesn't seem the whole story continues. Says that. Svarim Achirim. He swallowed the ring. He swallowed the ring. How could you say he swallowed Shlomo? I don't know. So he says the correct here says that he's swallowed the ring. The first guys I don't get how did he swallow something? You see that he kicked them away. Something the dumber. 1, 2, 3. The dumber duration. Okay, Shikach everybody. Thank you. 5:15 tomorrow. Yes, 5:15.